Kings fans, Jordan Kiss here, the voice of your Powell River Kings. Training camp for the Kings just a day away starting tomorrow. I'm here with the GM of the Kings, Chad Van Diemen. Chad, there's a lot of talk to talk about as we get set for the season, a new season here for the Kings. First off, let's go over this offseason here. It's been a very busy offseason, especially over the last few weeks for the Kings. How has it gone for you? Has it kind of gone the way you've planned it all?
Well, it's like you say, it's been pretty busy. We've had a lot going on, even just with the dressing room renovation. Staffing, some changes there, which we're pretty excited about, and then on the ice with our roster, there's been some moving pieces, and some players that we've had to move on. That is some tough decisions, and excited about some new players coming in. So it's definitely been a busy offseason.
Is kind of the roster kind of set right now? Or there's still a couple tweaks to go. Kind of where are you at right now?
We've got a couple things to do here still. A couple pieces to move out, and we are still looking to add another goalie, which we think we're pretty close on here, and also up front we're looking at some options up there, so we're not quite done, but looking to add another couple pieces here.
Well, let's talk about some of the additions we've had so far. You've had a good mix of guys who've had previous junior experience and some new guys as well coming out of minor hockey and academy programs. Let's talk about there's a fair share of guys who have had junior experience playing elsewhere, whether it's junior B, the MJHL, or even the North American League kind of thing. Was that kind of maybe a plan in the offseason to bring in some players that do have previous junior experience?
Well, I think going into last year, we really built, I'd say, with our core of 03s, right, that age group, and so last year they're 18. This year that core group is a year older and they're 19, and we felt we had to address our age, and our experience was a big thing too. So we've added 20-year-old D-man in Sam Schoenfeld, Jack Blanchett's 19 years old. Also two older guys with some experiences helps. Continuing on the back end with Will Jones, a good 04 D-man coming in from Shattuck, kind of similar to what Casey Ammon last year. And then we've got the 05 with Caleb Bentham. So we feel our back end is, just that extra year older, more experience. We're excited to work with that group, and to answer your question, age and experience was something we definitely were looking to acquire for sure.
And you talk about some of those players on the defensive side of things, and last season for the Kings defense was definitely a big problem throughout the year. Do you really feel with the new guys you brought in and the guys who are returning on the back end that this is going to be a much improved defensive core?
I don't want to kind of look too far back into last year, but you're always assessing how last year went, and I thought we did. We just gave up way too many goals, and that wasn't just our D. That was, your forwards are a big part of that. Your wingers, goaltending, obviously. So that's an area we need to improve on drastically, and so getting some guys just harder to play against back there. That's really what we needed to be, and through puck possession, the way they play defensively, positionally, and then just being a bit more aggressive. Our blue paint area last year was way too easy to play in last year for opponents, and that's something we really wanted to address going into this year. Is we've got to be a lot more physical and just more aggressive and have a bit more bite back there.
And then last season, you brought in Casey Ammon out of Shattuck, and he exceeded all expectations last year, became one of the best players for the Kings. And then this season, the offseason, you dive into the Shattuck well again. Not only getting one player, but three players out of Shattuck St. Mary's. You already mentioned Will Jones, but Noah Ayer and Anthony Yu, the other two. What was it about those three that you kind of feel like you needed all of them?
Well, you kind of go through your process of recruiting, and you want to add good players, and we had committed to three. Noah Ayer he did end up making a USHL team, so he's not coming, but with Anthony Yu and Will Jones, that's a big addition for us. Will is a skilled defenseman, skates well. He's a little bit undersized in height, but he's stocky. He's does a great job with his positioning and his edges to be hard to play against, and he's really good with the puck. So pretty excited to have him come in. And Anthony Yu up front he's fast, he's skilled, smart, makes a lot of good plays. So he's a guy that pretty excited about coming in. I think he could be a pretty high impact first year player in our league.
And you already mentioned, not diving too much into last year, but obviously it was, a challenge for a lot of people. It was a learning experience for everybody on this team, yourself as a GM and the players as well. What were you able to take away from last season as something you can learn from and maybe, help change this year?
Well, we've got to be harder to play against. We had way too many games last year where just got away from us, and not to throw guys under the bus, but it just, we had a lot of 1-goal games that we lost. I think we had 17 1-goal games that we lost. So we want to take those and flip them around. But we had a few lopsided scores in there that you just can't have. And that's a team attitude. That's a leadership thing. That's, veteran presence, all kind of going into it. And we had some injuries. And last year, our older guys, it was a relatively inexperienced group of older players. There was a lot of new faces, new to the league, and guys that didn't really have that season prior. So, this year we're going to lean on, our 19 and 20s a lot. And, I think it's just, again, you want to build off any sort of momentum, but there wasn't a lot last year, to be honest. And we've got to look at ourselves in the mirror, and 2 teams in our league missed the playoffs. We were one of them, so that's not good enough. We have a higher expectation here, and we've got to find our winning way again. And it starts here at home. This was too easy of a building to play in last year. We had way too many losses. This has to be a hard place to come to, and we've got to find that again. Last year was just, we lost a lot of double headers at home. You just can't do that. So we have to capitalize on our home ice advantage here, and we've got to find that again. And we feel this is a pretty exciting group, and should be a group that's able to do that.
And this year for the Kings, you have 9 returning players this year. Do you look at those 9 guys and see, if this team really wants to improve and really play well, you're going to have to kind of lean on those guys to take that next step in their kind of in their development?
Yeah, there's always turnover in junior hockey, obviously, but those guys coming back, absolutely, and I think they are hungry to come back. Their expectations are high, so it's one thing to put that from an organization, but those guys, they have high expectations for themselves too, which is what you need. So a lot of the guys coming back, we return a lot of our leading scorers from last year, and those guys were getting some pretty hard minutes against good 20-year-olds in our league. Like you look at Nanaimo last year, and some of our matchups against them, you kind of go into the night, our 18-year-olds are going up against their kind of 20-year-olds, 1920s, and we'll be better for that in the long run here. I thought last year, you're close, but at the end of the day, like I say, we missed playoffs by 1 point. We could have snuck in, but it's almost, we missed. We kind of are able to look at ourselves in the mirror like we weren't even close last year. So you've got to then evaluate, be honest with the assessment, and make the necessary moves moving forward into this year. So those returning guys, absolutely, the expectation is pretty high on them to come in. They had a bit of a longer off season than some of the other players in our league, and hopefully they've used that to their advantage, and they're hungry. We already talked to the guys that have come in so far. They're excited. They're hungry to come back. They have a lot to prove. There's some good boosts with just recent addition here of our announcement of Casey Ammon committing to Penn State. Those positives, that's all great for our program, and we've just got to keep building momentum here going into this season. And
then looking ahead to this season, what are your expectations for this team? Where do you think this team should finish, and kind of what kind of style of hockey do you want to see out of this team?
I don't want to set an expectation. I mean, we have internal goals. We need to be better in all facets. Our goals against have to come down. Our goals for have to go up. Our our team save percentage needs to be better. Our penalty kill needs to be better. Our power play needs to be better. So we've got work in all facets. We're ready to put that, go to work with that. So where we finish, we'll finish where you deserve to finish. And we have to push our guys day to day. They've got to be doing the right things on the ice, off the ice, video. And we'll finish where we deserve to finish. But kind of looking around the league and, what teams have coming back, what they've got coming in, I definitely have high expectations for this group.
And then not only there were additions to the team on the ice, there was some additions off the ice as well. You bring in a new assistant coach in Harry Mahesh to join alongside Brock Sawyer and Cal Bodie. What was the reasoning behind bringing in a new assistant, and what made Harry kind of stand out for you? Well,
we went through the process last year. Was we've kind of had in the last couple of years your goals to come out of COVID. I went back to coaching last year, which it wasn't ideal, but it was more of a organizational, how do we kind of get through this? So, that puts Brock in a tough spot. Thankfully we have a good relationship and we were able to make it work, but, Brock's the head coach. We needed a full-time assistant coach that can travel. Kyle does a lot in town here, but he's not able to make a lot of the road trips. So obviously we needed a guy that could come in and, be with the team day in, day out, and travel with the team on the road. So Harry has experience. He, it came about. We were talking to a few people, and just as the pieces came into play, we were able to get a deal done with Harry to come in, and he has head coaching experience, some assistant coaching experience, and just really excited to have him come in. I think he's going to be a great addition to our staff, and ready to get to work with him.
Well, it's going to be a very exciting training camp and preseason. Kings kick off the preseason next Saturday in Chilliwack against the Chiefs. You can stay tuned for more content from our training camp here on our social media channels. Thank you again, Chad, and we'll be talking more later on this season.
Great. Thanks, Jordan.